Hey everyone, this is Daniel, and in today's video we're going to take a look at how to add Power Apps formulas using Excel. And the scenario we'll go through is building a Power Apps Canvas app with 50 screens. Yeah, you heard me, 50 screens. And for that, the navigation formula is pretty simple, but it's a very lengthy formula. And for that, we will use Excel. And I'll show you the trick over there, because once you get the first row correctly in Excel, you basically drag it down and you get the remaining formula. But there's one little trick that you need to be aware of, because you just simply cannot copy it from Excel and move it over to Power Apps. There's one little additional step that you have to do. So stick around, this will be fun. But first, here's my intro video. So let's get started. Now, what you see over here is what I call as my shell app. The shell app means is basically went ahead and opened up, created a Canvas app, just dropped a few of these design controls, and that's it. Nothing else has been added. The magic is going to happen right now. This is where we'll go and start adding all the formulas. But the first thing that we need to do is make sure that all my controls are there and in the right place. So what right now you have to decide is that what are the basic controls I need in the screen, because moving forward, we're going to go and do a lot of copying and pasting of the screen. We're going to duplicate the screen, because that's how we're going to build that 50 screens in this scenario. In your case, it may not be 50 screens. You might have 10, 15, 20, whatever is your scenario. I literally did 50 just to make this look crazy big, but also to set a good example. So now that I've got this over here, what I need to do is I need to go ahead and now plan what my screen names are. So I just left it as this. For the sake of this example, I'm calling it as screen 1, screen 2, so on and so forth. But it's very important that you match this screen name, because that's the same one I'm going to go ahead and use as the title of the screen. So keep that in mind, all right? Otherwise, come up with a different plan as to, okay, I'm going to name it something here and differently over there in the formula I'm just going to show you. But the easy way is that if you want to actually show this as a screen, like this is the main screen or the main page, this is the edit one, this is the view one, well, go ahead and call those names over here, because we'll be displaying this screen name right over here on the header of that screen. So keep that in mind. Now we've got this, we need to go ahead and build a collection, and that collection is where we're going to use the magic of Excel spreadsheet. But before we jump into that, there's the header and the footer. Let's go and take care of that. So what I call this as my header, and that's the footer. Right now, I've gone ahead and put that as simple text. As you can see, I've selected the header and its control property is the text. Well, I want to go ahead and change that, because I don't want to go and put that as text. I'm going to go ahead and get the name of the screen. And to do that, you actually use this very simple formula. It's called as the app.activeScreen. There you go, active screen. And then over there, you just click that and you basically go and get the name. So what it does is whatever is the name of that screen, that is the one that it's going to go ahead and grab and put it over there. That's why it's called as app.activescreen.name. That whatever is the active screen at that time, it's going to go and grab that screen name and show it over there. So that actually really helps, because now when we go and do some copying and pasting in that screen, the next screen, it'll automatically have screen 2, screen 3, so on and so forth. So I'm just going to go and make sure I copy this over here, and then I'll come down to the bottom, which is my footer, and then I'll select the text. And right there, I'm going to replace that with the formula. So we went and took care of this very important piece over here, right? Just got that done, we're good. You can also come over here on this side, and then in its on select, you can go and use the back function. That way you don't have to keep telling which screen you just go to. Go ahead and just basically say, what was the screen I came from? That is where I'll go and return back to it. So I'll just click on back right there, close the brackets, and we're done over there, right? So key things went and took care of that. Nothing fancy, but I got basically my screen one, at least the screen one, done. All right, so now let's go and focus on our Excel spreadsheet piece and what we're going to do over there. Now, for the Excel spreadsheet piece, it's only going to be a part of the formula. So we at least need to get the initial, the beginning and the end of the formulas done. And that basically is the clear collect. So the clear collect comes on the app, and I'm not putting it on this start screen. I'm going to go and put it on the on start. And here, I'm going to start typing in my clear collect formula. So it's going to be clear collect right there, opens up the bracket, and I'm going to call that as my call for collection, and I'm just going to say screens, right? Then I hit on comma, I'll hit my shift, enter, and we're set at the next line, right? Because this is where I'm going to come and do some pasting. I'm going to get that from Excel spreadsheet. Also, we will go scroll away at the end at some point. In fact, let's just do that now. I'm going to hit shift, enter, and I'm going to go and close that brackets, because we'll go and do a lot of pasting in between over here, right? So I'm going to make sure that I just go and save it so I don't lose any of that work. And then once the app is saved, let's go back in, and I just want to type the first line. That way we at least know what it is that we have to type over here. So when we're building a collection, this is basically what I want to do is I'm going to go and open up a curly brackets and I'm going to say ID, then I'm going to put colon and I'm going to hit 1 because I want that ID name reference as 1, comma, name, I'll put again colon, and then I'm going to open up a double brackets. I'm going to say screen 1. I'm going to not put any space between them because that's how I'm naming my screen over here. If you make the decision that, hey, it's going to be screen space 1, then make sure you type that in over here as well, all right? So that's kind of important to do. Then I'll go and close it. Then I'll go and close my curly brackets and I'm going to put a comma and then I'll be doing next line the same thing. Basically next line will be something like this. So we'll be going ahead and pasting it like that, but it's a paste, but then I'll have to come back here. I got to change that one. Then I got to go back over here and I got to change the 1 to 2. It's a repetitive process. It's time consuming. You can make mistakes over here. And that's where I'm going to show you the Excel piece, all right? So first we went ahead and got this formula. Now I know that this is what I need to replicate on the Excel side, but for 50 screens, all right? So now let's go into Excel and now we'll see what's going on. So I'm going to go and now open up my Excel spreadsheet and we have a good idea as to what that formula is. So let's try to replicate that. And here I'm going to now start typing it in my cell. Now remember, I said that any cell which is going to have a numerical value, keep that by itself. But other cells which is just going to have text, we can combine them and kind of reduce the number of cells. So here's what I mean, right? So I'm going to go and open up the double brackets. And again, you'll see that the formula is all very similar to what we did. So I'm going to increase that a little bit on the size, make it bigger. Right there, I'm going to type that in. I say open brackets, ID, colon, right? Now I'm going to put a numerical value. So I'm going to type that in 1 over here. Then I'm going to jump over to this next one. And in this one, I'm going to put a comma. Then I'll go and put space. Then I'll say name and colon. And I can also go and put a double brackets and start that, double brackets over here. And then and also type in screen, by the way. I can type in the screen, right? Then I'm going to go to the next cell again and I'm going to type in 1. Cool. Now I can go back into the next one and I can do double quotes, close the bracket, and I can also put a comma. So now if you see, this is beginning to look very similar. In fact, it has to look exactly the same like the formula we just wrote over there. So now if I go out and I'm going to go make sure I go and select all the cells, I'll also go and reduce the size a little bit because we'll be dragging it down a little bit. And once I've done that, you come to the right side over here. Once you see the plus, I'm just going to go and drag it down and I go all the way down to my 50. And watch, just like that, we went ahead and basically replicated the entire formula. See, from 1, 2, 3. This is why I used Excel, because I can go and make this fast. And from here, I can literally copy it and put it in my Excel spreadsheet. In my Power Apps Canvas app. So let's try that, right? I'm going to go do a Control C and I'll go over to my Power Apps and I'll go ahead and make the nice little blank space we have between and I'll go and paste it over there. And I have a problem. There's 2 problems. First of all, there is an error showing up over here. That's easy. That's because of this comma. So we take that off and it still looks a little messy. There's not an error per se, but it looks a little messy. The reason this happened is because when we went ahead and made that Excel spreadsheet formula, for some reason, it has got all that blank spaces over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that last little trick, which is to go ahead and use that concatenate function. So check this out, right? We're not done here. I'm going to come back in. I'm going to hit the escape button and I'll go to this last blank one and there we will start typing in the concatenate. So I'm going to say concatenate right there. When I click on it, it'll be double. And then after that, I just start doing 1. Basically, I hit on that cell, which is A1. Then I hit comma, go to the next cell, comma, next cell, comma, next cell, comma, next cell. And then I go and close it. And then once I do that, I can hit the enter or I can hit the check. And here is what I'm getting. This looks a lot cleaner. And you can see that blank spaces are gone. But for here also, I got to go and select on the end and I got to drag it down, all right? I'm actually holding that mouse button down as I'm dragging it. Otherwise, it would not work. See, this looks a lot cleaner. So now if I do a Control C, and now if I go to my Power Apps Canvas app, here if I paste it, I'm still going to get that same error, which is the comma one. But if I take it, this looks a lot cleaner. So quick recap over there. In Excel spreadsheet, besides the fact that we went ahead and did all the formulas over there and the one separately, the key thing over here in Excel spreadsheet, the key thing is once you've finished all of this, don't just do a copy and paste because that blank spaces appears and it gets confusing. Do that final piece, the concatenate. This is the magic that I was talking about in intro. Once you do this, those blank spaces disappear. Then you can go and copy this and move it over to Power Apps and it works really well. Because check this out. no errors. I got no errors over here. And you just went ahead and created a collection for a navigation for 50 screens. You just did that fast. Imagine doing this manually, copying, pasting, editing, copying, pasting, editing. Editing is changing the 1, the 2, and so on and so forth. That gets a little crazy. Oh, by the way, I got a duplicate here, so I'm going to go and delete that. But we just accomplished a whole lot. So I'm going to now just be a good Canvas app builder. I'm going to go save it. Then we're going to go outside. And we'll just make sure, once again, no errors. So all said and done, now if I come over here and if I click on Run on Start, we've got that collection. The call screens, the collection for the screens, it is built. It is ready. All we've got to do is now go ahead and add that into our navigation piece, which is the gallery. So let's go start working on that gallery piece. So I come to my Insert, click on Gallery. I'll just go and select that vertical one. But in the vertical one, I'm actually going to go and change it just to 3 texts. Also, I'll go with the title, subtitle, and body. So I'll go grab that. And then once I select inside it, it'll ask me if I want to go ahead and which one do I want to select. I'll say I'll select that collection. And as you can see, it's all piling up nicely. So I'll now use this one as is. In fact, I only needed one. So I'll delete that one off. This guy on top, which is the big one, I'm going to change that one from item this name to .id. That way we can actually see what's going on. Keep it nice right there. I'll make this one a little bit. Select that, reduce the overall size. And that way, at least I should be able to get 10 out over here. Let's see if I can get 10 out in one view. Oh, I was able to get more. All right, we'll leave it that much for now. Okay, this looks good. Next, I also want to go and do my favorite, which is right on the top over here for my gallery one. I go to what's called as a template fill. In my template fill, I'll go and put in this formula. So this formula is going to be if this item, there, you got that over here, right? So as you can see, it is fully functional. All the data is coming in. If I click on it, we're able to do that. And it all works. Now we are on the last stretch of building this app, which is the navigation piece. So now we've got to go ahead and add actually the navigation formula. So in this gallery over here, I got to go ahead and do the on select. And in the on select, I'm going to use a combination of navigate with the if function. And it's going to be a simple formula, but a very lengthy one, a long one. We'll jump back to Excel and finish that over there. But here's what we need to do though, is we need to go and say navigate based on which screen you're selecting. So we're basically going to say that if this item that you've selected is screen number 1, then go to that screen. If it is screen number 2, go to that screen number 2. And it's easier to go and do that in Excel really fast. And this is also why we went ahead and did that magic for the header and the footer text, because we're going to be automatically jumping around from different screens and we want that screen name to show up. But before we actually go over that, there's one more thing I want to show you in the gallery. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but in the gallery, there's something called as a default. And in the default, the formula that you want to use is this. It says lookup. And in the lookup, I'm going to say the collection screens, comma, the name equals the text of this app active screen. So basically, if I go and say app.activescreen.name, if you go and do that, and if you close it, it should work. But if you get any errors, go ahead and add that text over there. So let me explain what I did over here. Right now, the default means whatever is the default that is selected. And in this case, we are on screen number 1, it is selected screen 1, and that's the default. However, if I went ahead and say selected screen 11, all right, once we have everything ready, I'll go to screen 11. In that screen, I want the default to be screen 11 because that's the one we are on. And the moment I do that, it will go ahead and select that to screen number 11. Well, but Daniel, you just did select that. So why shouldn't it, why do we have to go and put this default function? Well, let's think about that. We selected that in this screen. In screen number 1, we went ahead and selected, say, screen number 12. But once we're in screen number 12, over there, it's actually a different gallery. But over there, also, we will just make sure that in that gallery, this default will go ahead and say, oh, you came to this screen. This screen's value is so-and-so, which is the screen's value is, this is the name. If it matches the active screen, then go and highlight that. So we're actually making it look very easy, but you just accomplished something really powerful, is that now, even though we jump to another screen, it's got a brand new gallery over there. That gallery also will just go and take a look at, oh, this is my collection. That's my active screen. Let me just go and keep that as highlighted. It's very easy, but it's a really powerful tool, and you can all achieve that using default. All right, so hopefully that helped. But yeah, let's go and jump now back to our initial thing, which was in the default. We're going to go ahead and go on its on select. So let's start typing in at least the initial part of the formula. So I'm going to say navigate first. Okay, this is a navigation, and I'm going to hold shift enter, and I'm going to say if. I'll select the if, and it opens up another bracket. So I'm going to say shift enter, and this is the formula that I'm going to type. It says if this item dot name equals, and I'm going to say screen one. Now watch out over here, because if you put a space on that actual screen name, you got to make sure you put that space over here also. In my case, I don't, so I'm going to leave it as that blank over here. But okay, if it's screen one, then hit the comma and then say screen one and then comma. And then after that, you'll basically be repeating the whole thing, which means you will actually come and do something like this, Control C, and then you would have to come back to the next one. You did a copy of the first line, you did a copy of this line, you paste it over here, and then you got to go back in, you got to change that to 2, and you got to go back over here, change that to 2, and it takes time. What I'm going to try to show you is how we can go and automate that in Excel. So let's jump back over there. So I'm back in my Excel spreadsheet. I'm just going to go open up another sheet, and over here, I'll start typing in. I'm going to get a little bigger for us to see what's going on. And over here, I'll type in the first thing. See, this item, ITM dot name equals, and I can keep typing it in because I haven't had the digital section over here. So it equals, and then I put the double quotes and I say screen, and now is the point where I got to make sure I first double click this one. So I see that one cell, go to the next cell, and I'm going to type in 1. Then here I can go and type in again. So I'm going to go and now say double quotes, comma, I'll say screen again, and then I pick another next cell and I say 1, and then I go back over here, and then I got to go ahead and hit comma. So if I were to now go and just take a look at this, this is looking very similar to the one that we just did. And it's very important that you actually see and compare it, because you're going to, once you do the whole dragging and dropping over here, you will have to delete all of that, fix it, and then redo all of this. It's kind of important. So I'm going to really take a look at this item dot name. So we'll actually go back and say, okay, this item dot name, this item dot name equals screen. Make sure there's no space over here. I can double check that. All right, and then I put the 1, which is perfect. Then the next cell, I got to put the double quotes. Perfect, I did that. Comma, and then the screen, and then 1, and then after that is a comma. So I think I'm in good shape. So what I'll do is I'll go and select all of this like that, and I'm going to go ahead and drag it down, and I got to get at least 50 of them. So sometimes when you're dragging it, you get more than 50, but just make sure that you get only 50, and it looks good. Remember what I told you though, we still got to work with the concatenate. So I'm going to actually go and say concatenate, select that, and then I'll just go and say, click on this cell, comma, this cell, comma, this cell, comma, this cell, comma, this cell. Then I go and close it, hit on the checkbox. That is looking great. I'll go ahead and now drag this one down to make sure we get all the formula right here. This is looking promising, but the ultimate truth test is when you copy it and paste it in Power Apps, and we see what errors we get. So I'm going to go and do a Control C. Let me go back into my Power Apps. Let me just wipe this one off because that was just a test, and I'll go and do a paste, and I'm getting some errors. But this error is fine. Why? Because we don't have any of those screens. And just to prove a point, you see screen one's text doesn't have an error, but all of the other ones do. So do you understand what's the key takeaway over here? Is make sure all the other screens have the same spelling. Otherwise, you're going to go crazy trying to fix this problem, all right? So this is just a proof that once you're committed to this screen naming convention, you got to stay with it, because the formulas are going to get a little messy after that. But that's an easy thing for you to follow. So what I'll do is I'll go to the next level. I'll go and make sure I take that last comma off. And then I think it was just one bracket, and I close another bracket. But the ultimate test is all of this, errors and everything will go away once we start creating that, we'll start doing copying and pasting. But honestly, all we've got left now is copying and pasting. So I'm going to go and click on save. I'm going to click on publish. I don't have to do the publish, but I'll just go and click on save. But here now, we're going to do a lot of duplicating. So I'm going to come over here now on that screen. I went in and clicked on the ellipses, which is the 3 dots, and I'm going to say duplicate screen. Right? So the moment it duplicates, here is the manual process that you cannot do in Excel spreadsheet. You've got to do that manually. But key thing is remember that you've got to go ahead and have that too. Now, let me go ahead and finish up all the other ones. I'll fast forward through that. And when you come back in, you'll be able to take a look at it. All right, so I've already gone ahead and built the screen number 48. And there's no easy way to do it. There's a lot of duplicate. But I want to finish the last 2 screens together with you so you can actually see a few interesting things that happen over here. The way I've been doing is once I create a screen, for the next screen, I come to the last one. So for example, I want to create now screen number 49. So on this one, I come in, which is screen number 48, click on the ellipsis, and I click on duplicate. The moment I click on duplicate, the next screen is created. So it's very interesting because when I was on this screen 48, all these icons have the number postfix 47. This one, I'm double clicking on that. And as I click on it, watch something first. See, it because of that active screen name, it immediately picked up that screen name, which was 48 underscore, the name, which is 1. But now if I go and close it, actually take it off, it's telling me that this name is already there, which is correct because I went ahead and give the wrong name. I'll double click on that and I'll go 9. It takes a few seconds for this name, the active screen, to take effect. So if I might now go click on the 48, if I come back to 49, it'll fix itself. All right, so don't ever think of that as an error. But check this out. As I've been coming and clicking on these new screens, that active screen formula is working. So let me now go ahead and now finish off the last one, which is click on duplicate screen. Now I can go down and I'll go and double click on that and I'll make that as 50. And the moment I go out over there and I come back in, it gives me that correct name. And as you can see, it's already selected. Now what I'll do is I'll go and save it just so I don't lose anything. I'll come back and I'll go and take a look at my errors. And it's telling me I have 1,425 formula errors over there. And I bet you they're all for this unexpected one. So if I go and click on all of their OnStart, it doesn't seem to like any of these. So how do I fix that problem, Daniel? It's a very simple fix, and it's a mistake that you and I made back when we've created the first screen. But I'll show it to you because I intentionally set that up over here. Yeah, I intentionally set that up over there to kind of show you why it's so important to fix that formula. So check this out. When I go and click on that, it's taking me to where the error is. And if I select the error, as I'm scanning it through, I immediately notice that in the last line, we forgot to take off that comma. And so if I take this off, now watch, the error goes away. But do you understand why it is so late to fix that problem? Because I've got to go to 50 screens to fix this problem. So it's very important that we had fixed this in the first one, man. And if we did it, it would have been perfect. But because we have got this error right up on the first, or we started, actually it's not the first screen, it's the second screen. Wherever we're doing the copying and pasting from, this is the screen which actually had the error right there. If I actually click on it, because if I actually go to that second screen, which is where we started doing the copying and pasting from, I click on that gallery, I go to its on select, right over here. If I scroll down, you see the last one also had the comma. So this is a really good real world scenario of what not to do. What you should do is make sure that screen which you're copying needs to have no errors whatsoever. And then once you go ahead and fix that, it's a good one, then you start doing the duplicating and the copying, because then all the other screens will good. So I'll go and now fix all the other ones really quick, and then we'll do the final test. All right, so I'm on the last two screens, so I thought I'll let you follow along. Screen 49, go over here, have the errors. I scroll all the way down, take that last comma out. And then if I go to screen 50's gallery, go over here, take the comma out. And the moment I did that, you saw all the errors went away. So let me just go and be a good app developer and go and save that. And let's do a test. So right here, we're on 50 right now. So if I were to scroll up to even say half the way, like 18, the moment I clicked on 18, it took me to screen number 18. But did you see another very interesting happened? Screen number 18 also got highlighted as if I have kept that selected. And because you use that default value, it will always show you over here. Remember, in the previous screen, we were on 50. We were scrolled all the way down to 50. But because you use that default option, it makes it so awesome because it'll select that and it will also show it to you. Like it's as if it's a pre-scrolled available for you type of functionality. And so let's do that test again. We're on 18, but if I were to now go and scroll on, click on 1, in the next screen, we are actually a different screen. But over there, it sticks to the screen number 1. It's not that it would go ahead and stay on 18. And over here, now it's no longer selected, but it kind of remembers the one which is previously selected. So it come over here also, it doesn't remember that. The default formula takes care of it. So this over here is the power of how we were able to do all of that thanks to Excel and all these little tricks that I showed you. Okay, so you gotta admit, that was so much fun and easy thanks to the power of Excel. So the key takeaways over here is that make sure you have each of those cells correct. And any cell which is gonna have a digital value, like a number value, keep that separate. Don't go ahead and add any text to it. Keep that separate only for the numerical value, because when you drag it down, those numbers need to automatically increment in 1 values. And then finally, don't forget to go and create another cell where you're going to do the concatenate, because that is where all those blank spaces disappear. Then you can copy it from there and move it over to Power Apps. So hopefully this was helpful to you. And as always, keep using Power Apps. Hey everyone, hopefully you found this video useful. And if you did, can you help me help you? Can you subscribe to this YouTube channel? Because remember, I provide fresh content on a weekly basis and it's 100% free. So if you have subscribed, thank you so much and pass the word. But if you haven't, subscribe, click on the bell notification and let the learning begin.